Well, guys, I'm following up on this story about the former Marine Daniel Penny choking the 30-year-old homeless man Jordan Neely to death. And I guess a few days ago, Mr. Penny had to go to court, and I guess his legal team tried to have the charges dismissed, but the judge apparently wasn't having it. So here it is. This is in the USA Today. Case against man accused in NYC subway chokehold death moves forward. A New York judge has declined to dismiss the case of Dan Penny, the man charged with manslaughter for killing Jordan Neely in a chokehold on a subway car in May. New York County District Attorney's Office said Wednesday. Penny was charged with manslaughter after putting 30-year-old Neely, a black man experiencing homelessness, in a chokehold from behind after Neely was acting erratically on the subway, according to witnesses. A medical examiner ruled Neely's death a homicide caused by compression of the neck. In Wednesday's decision, Judge Maxwell Wiley pointed to medical evidence and Neely's cause of death and wrote that Penny placed the deceased Jordan Neely in a chokehold, which then resulted in Mr. Neely's death. Wiley also said witness evidence from prosecutors used in last summer's grand jury indictment is sufficient for the case to move forward, something defense lawyers contested last year. The court has reviewed the cases cited by defendant in light of the evidence presented and finds that here the evidence is legally sufficient to establish that defendant acted with both recklessness and criminal negligence, Wiley wrote in his decision. This is the judge, Maxwell Wiley. Okay? Defense lawyers for Penny had filed a motion for the case to be dismissed, arguing that Penny did not intend to harm Neely and that several witnesses feared for their lives that day on the subway. Now that a judge has denied the defense's motion to dismiss the case, it will move forward and likely go to trial. Next conference meeting in the case is set for March 20th, defense attorney's office told USA Today on Wednesday. Lawyers for Penny said they disagree with the judge's decision and argue Penny put Neely in a chokehold to protect other passengers on the subway. We are confident that a jury aware of Danny's actions in putting aside his own safety to protect the lives of his fellow riders will deliver a just verdict, defense lawyers Thomas Kenneth and Stephen Racer said in a statement. On May 1st, Neely started shouting on the train and threw his jacket on the floor, according to more than a dozen witnesses. He was acting erratically. Witnesses said he did not have a weapon. He did not have a weapon or strike anyone. Witnesses said that, mind you. But Daniel Penny felt that everyone's life was at risk and choked him to death. In recent months, lawyers on each side have argued that the other side's evidence cherry-picks witness accounts to exaggerate or downplay the fear Neely caused on the subway car when he began yelling and saying he was ready to fight. Now, funny part is they're saying that he said he was ready to fight. But meantime, you can go read another article that will say that he said he was ready to die. So, this is how reliable, all the news is at this point. Witness accounts vary, lawyers say, in part because Neely was not in the direct line of vision of all passengers on the crowded car that morning. After Neely's outburst, Penny, who was white, approached him from behind and placed him in a chokehold for several minutes, including after Neely stopped resisting. Penny was indicted on charges of manslaughter and criminal negligent homicide in June and pleaded not guilty. Penny's legal team fought to dismiss the case, arguing a reasonable person in their client's position on a subway car could have also felt force was necessary to prevent Neely from harming other passengers. But he choked him to death. This is a former Marine. Choked this man and killed him. A person who has combat training, assumably. Okay? If that's a word. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that. Look, the man was murdered, okay? Not so many words. You can make a case for even second-degree murder in this situation. But at the end of the day, they charged this man with the lowest they could in manslaughter, which is like as low, pretty much as low as they possibly could. So at the end of the day, they're not worried about it. Apparently, from what I see from this, I mean, Jordan Neely's life obviously isn't that important. And then you have people like Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who's trying to run for president, saying that, well, we need to support this Marine and show him that America's got his back. So he was also helping to fundraise or promoting fundraising for Daniel Neely. Okay, it reminds me a whole lot about the George Zimmerman case. Let me just tell you, it reminds me a whole lot about that because this is the situation we're talking about here. This is how much money, and this is from June of last year. Oh, he's well over $3 million by now. Okay? So just think about who these people are who are donating this money. And what their feeling is about somebody like Jordan Neely, a subway bum in their mind that, has mental illness and he's been charged with several crimes. So his life doesn't mean anything. His rights don't mean anything, apparently. Because a man can just come up behind him and choke him for nearly 10 minutes and they're saying minutes. It's like all these. Look, I even read a Daily News article that's trying to downplay this. It's like, oh, it was a few minutes. No, it was like 6 minutes at minimum, and it was probably closer to 10 in reality. That's just my guess. Because the fact they keep trying to downplay the time this man was choked to death is amazing. Listen, I have some martial arts training, okay? What he put on Jordan Neely would be referred to as a rear naked choke. And at the end of the day, you can choke someone unconscious within seconds. So the idea that this Marine did not know that choking that man for that long was going to kill him, sorry, I'm not buying it. And look at all this money this man has been donated to. I mean, this is almost $3 million as of July of last year, and we're in January of 2024. Okay? That should tell you folks a lot. That should tell you black men a whole lot. Is that apparently there's some things we're doing wrong here because apparently, these people, they get behind the people they want to protect, but a lot of us, we don't. And this is going to continue going. And I'll be honest with you. There's a good chance that Dan Penny is going to get off in this case somehow, some way at a jury trial. If you have a sympathetic jury, sure. They're going to pump up his military record, how scared he was, and all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, a lot of those people very well may ignore the fact because they look at and say, well, look at him. He's worth more than Jordan Neely. So, oh well. Jordan Neely's rights don't matter. He committed a crime. It's okay. Because basically that's the message they want to send out. That's what's going to come out of this, in my opinion. I hope I'm wrong, but I suspect that whatever Daniel Penny gets is not going to be nearly enough to even hold a candle to the time what he should actually have been charged with. Because as far as I'm concerned, the New York District Attorneys charged him literally as low as they could for political reasons. That's just my opinion. Okay? Because at first they weren't even going to charge Daniel Penny. They were, it was like days they had questioned him and he had never been charged. And then apparently they're trying to put together a case to suppress the search warrant evidence. Apparently, I'm assuming they must have searched Dan Penny's apartment or something. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but this was another article I read. So, and of course we don't know what that so-called search warrant evidence is. And if it was maybe made light to the public, that might actually tell us, that might be really telling. And it probably won't be in Dan Penny's favor. Which is one reason why they want to suppress the evidence. That's what my guess is. But look, nearly $3 million as of July 2nd. That's not even, the month wasn't even over. That was in the month of July. So I'm sure that he probably broke $3 million, likely, before. Because you got to figure, okay, this happened in May, June, July. So we're talking about literally 2 months. In 2 months' time, this man made almost $3 million. So there's no telling how much money, if he kept up that pace now, He's got plenty of money to pay his lawyers and then some, okay? And then some. Disgusting, people. Utterly disgusting. Yep. And I'll tell you something. This right here, to me, is one of the most telling things about society and what's really going on here. So, okay, guess what, black folks? You ain't got no friends, okay? You ain't got no friends. Black men, you definitely ain't got no friends. You got less friends than the whole black community as a whole. Breaking us off from the women. Guess what? They got more allies than we got. And some of those allies are the same people that are our enemies. Okay? So, yeah, pay attention to this case. Because I'm telling you, instead of everybody getting outraged behind the streets and then here comes the National Guard and then they can talk about how, savage these black folks are if they destroy a city over this or some riots start out. Let's just look at what went on here. And understand that we need to learn from some of these things. I mean, come on, George Zimmerman, same way. These folks are pouring money into the people who they want to protect, okay? And let's be real. A lot of these folks that donate money are racist as hell. People can deny it all they want to. But let's just be real. Particularly in the George Zimmerman case. Particularly. The difference here is that, Daniel Penny has a military record, so that gives them a certain level of cover for the people to use that. So, well, he served his country, so, Jordan Neely's life don't mean nothing, right? Because he served his country, Jordan Neely's rights, basically that makes Daniel Penny a super citizen able to violate the rights of Jordan Neely, right? Well, I'm not going to make this a long one, but again, I want you guys to really look at how much money that damn Penny got. This is according to the Fox News piece. Come on, man. Folks, we gotta be paying attention, man. We gotta be paying attention, and we need to be reacting to this type of stuff, not in an emotional way, not in a violent way, but in a strategic way, in an intelligent way. Because the only way that we're going to be able to actually get justice is if we demand it and we do things to put ourselves in a position where these type of things are going to not go unpunished. Because at this rate, I feel like this is not really going to get punished. And the worst part about it is you got a black DA and a mayor who, in my opinion, support this situation. Because at the end of the day, just because somebody has a black face doesn't mean that they care about the people in their tribe. Especially when the money's right and the power's right. So again, yeah, there needs to be an understanding here. But again, keep following this case. Yep. So March 20th is the next date if that don't get, get postponed, whatever the case may be. But that's the next date. So yeah, folks. Very important. Very important. Hell, matter of fact, here's according to some bystanders that said, Neely had been yelling about how hungry and tired he was, saying, quote unquote, I don't have food, I don't have a drink, I'm fed up. I don't mind going to jail and getting life in prison. I'm ready to die. That came moments before Dan Penny held him in a chokehold for 6 minutes. So they're saying 6 minutes. So the video probably will give you an idea of how many minutes. So, yeah. Again, a case could be made for murder here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think if the roles were reversed, if anybody wants to be honest, there would be a case for murder here. More things change, more they stay the same. But guess what? It's our job to change it. And not apologize for it. But first of all, we got to pay attention and get involved. Because crying and screaming in the streets ain't going to do it, folks. You got to get them where it hurts. Exercise power that you got to punish because the people have no problem doing it to you. And that's just a reality. I'm out.